Hey, Coach, so glad you found us on YouTube. Couple things. First of all, make sure you go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. Let me help you put banners and all those things in the gym. It's a great community. We do one-on-one calls, office hours. There's nothing like it. And you get my personal email address. There's a roadmap in there to help you become a better basketball coach. Also, go over and subscribe and like. Have a great day.
I'll do my intro too. All right, welcome to High School Hoops. I apologize if Coach is a little punchy. It's the last podcast of the evening. We batch these, and and I'm old, so I'm really not that old, but I'm older. So anyway, before we get started, I'd like to give a big shout out to our sponsors. We might have a new sponsor coming on. That's a tease in the radio industry. There's a tease. Might have a new one coming on. Working on it. I'm not sure for High School Hoops. I know they're going to jump in Coach Unplugged, but I'm excited about it. They're basketball related. I'm not going to take athletic greens. Sorry, unless I have to. It's good. I have some athletic greens over there, but everything I wanted as far as sponsorships, I want basketball related. So go over and check out Dr. Dish. Great shooting machine. So my theory with Dr. Dish is you become a shooter by shooting, and you should have as many Dr. Dishes as you can because you got to get reps. Everyone can become a shooter. Not everyone can become a scorer, but everyone can become a shooter. Everyone in your gym should be able to catch a ball and shoot it if they're open. And Dr. Dish will help you that.
Hope you can knock it down.
And knock it down.
Yeah.
And then I will teach you how to score, because there's a difference between shooting and scoring. But Dr. Dish can help you with that. It can help you with both of those. It definitely can help you with the shooting for initially, just the square ups. Mention High School Hoops, and they'll give you $450 off. And then, like I said, the last couple of weeks, some big changes coming for teachhoops.com. So go over and check that out. I think we're going to leave the site up as is while we're working on the back end. I don't know. I'm not a computer programmer. My son is. So maybe he can support me in old age. He's going to be a comp sci major. But go over and check it out before prices increase. Lots of cool changes coming. You get my email. So that's worth something. Yeah. There's 12 cents right there. All right. Now, can you share your screen, Coach?
I can.
Okay. We're going to talk about we're talking about practice planning and stuff.
Practice and game planning.
Okay.
So just being prepared. And so, I think one of the number one things that I learned when I first became a head coach is how important it is to have a plan for practice.
Yeah.
Right. And I think it's one of the things that they don't teach you in coaching school, right? Is practice planning. They kind of throw you in, and you just have to figure it out for yourself.
Right.
And so practice planning is super important. I'll share my screen here. Let me see how this works for you. Can you just see?
Yep, I can.
See that? Perfect.
I can.
So for me, like, this is just a practice plan that I had here in December. We were playing a game at Fulton tomorrow, hour and 45 minutes.
Now, is Merrill the name of your city or the name of your school?
Both.
There's a Merrill in northern Wisconsin.
That's the first I've heard of it. Yeah,
really?
So Merrill is the town, Merrill High School too.
Yeah, there's Merrill. What's your mascot?
We are the Vandals.
You're the Vandals? Vandalism Vandals?
No, it's like a pirate.
Oh, it's a pirate. Okay.
It's like a pirate.
Yeah, Merrill. Yeah. I think Merrill are the Blue Jays, I believe. And they are about, so if you know where Madison is, it's in the middle of the bottom of the state. If you go basically 2 hours and 20 minutes straight north, you'll hit Merrill. It's about 20 minutes north of Wausau. No one probably knows where Wausau is. Yeah, but anyway,
I don't.
I know, but I mean, I'd never heard of another Merrill. So that's like. Yeah. Maybe it's a popular name of cities. I don't know. Anyway.
No, okay. I don't think so. So for me, I've got this template made with our date, time of, how long practice is, any announcements we have. So Fulton tomorrow, didn't know what time the bus left yet. So I didn't have that in there to tell the team. Any attendance notes, if I've got a kid in our National Honor Society that, hey, they've got, a National Honor Society meeting for 10 minutes after school, just kind of note that in so I remember it when I get to practice. One of the things I do is a quote of the day. Every single day I start practice with like an inspirational quote. And so I put that on every single one of my practice plans. So it's like, if I click through here, it'd have a different quote every single day.
You know what
That
I
was one of the
found
things that
with
I do.
that is they get bored with that early. So what I've
Yeah.
done is I've made them come up with things and say, hey, tomorrow it's your turn to come up with something. And then I've had us come up with something at the end of practice for the next day. Because what I've noticed with the quote of the day is it works for a couple weeks. And then unless you got the really time to dive into it, it just becomes one of those things.
Yeah.
So what I have found with that is like pivoting, like, okay, all right, Ian, tomorrow you're gonna come up with something for our motto for the, and sometimes it will be like motto of the day. And maybe we're
Yeah.
playing a big rival. They'll come up with, hey, we got to take care of so and so, and we got to really rebound. Great. Let's think. And then I'll stop.
Right.
Remember what Ian said, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So anyway, I like the idea. I think by practice 60, they get at least my guys have gotten like, coach is giving me another freaking quote. Like,
All right, give me 1 second. Got to plug in my computer so I don't die on you.
okay. But that's what I have found with, and again, this is what I'm going to tell high school coaches listening to this is practice planning is an art. It's an art. It's like teaching. Okay. So I teach statistics. If Eric was teaching statistics and we were teaching the same subject or same objective for the day, we would probably do it differently and we probably do it very well. Okay.
Yep.
So that's what you really got to find out what your thing is with practice planning. What do you want? How do you want to do it? Because it's a nuance. It's like painting. I was lucky to be in the UK over spring break and I went to the British Museum and I'm looking at some of these paintings and it's like, I could paint that. 20,000 other people could paint it. This person painted it. They're all different. Obviously, they're much more talented, but they all have something. It's like it's the same with a practice plan. So I think it's unique to you, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And find something that works for you and lean into it.
Yep.
But yeah, go ahead, coach.
So I put this thing together, has it all broken down into times, what drill it is, any notes on the drill. But then I think the biggest thing for me is what I put over here on the right side, which is our post-practice positives, post-practice negatives. So I'm taking notes throughout practice all over this sheet of paper, but then I'll sit down with my assistants after practice and I'll say, okay, here are the things that I thought were positive. Anything else that you guys saw that you like is worth noting as a positive? And then, okay, here are my negative takeaways from practice. What else do you think is worth noting as negatives? And I'll jot those in that area so that, as I file them away and as I kind of look at, practice plans throughout the year, as well as practice plans, as I'm making them throughout the week, like, are we building? Are we getting better? Are we having the same negatives every day or not? And so I think practice planning is super important, but I think almost more important is game plan. And so I'm going to stop sharing this and I'm going to share something else. So I use Fast Model Sports for my game plans. I don't know if you can see that.
Yep.
Perfect. So I use Fast Model Sports. This is just an idea. This is what would have been our first playoff game.
Okay.
And so we were playing what actually was a conference opponent for us in Vesterberg.
Okay.
And so, this is kind of what our scouting report looks like that we'll go over with the team. But the nice thing about Fast Model is you can actually send a link to your players as well.
Yeah, we do that too. We used to do paper. I just think this works better. We have in our film sessions, we have notebooks, so I still feel like they're writing things and putting things in their specific notebooks. But yeah, I agree.
But this is kind of just an example of what ours looks like. So some general team notes for our opponent, our offensive and defensive keys, what our matchups are going to be for the night with our lineup versus their lineup. And then kind of a breakdown of their starters. Again, this was a conference opponent, so I was actually I had some specific stats about these are the two games we played against them. These were their stats.
What is your conference rule on stats?
Our rule, it's just take your own, really.
No, so you have to share them, or how do you know
we
their
don't.
Stats?
I stat every game. Like I go back and I do
you
stats.
Get it. You get it.
I get it.
Okay.
So these are the stats from us, like for the two games that we had already played them in our conference. This is a playoff game.
Okay.
So we had already played them twice. So these were their stats in those two games.
Okay.
And so, this kid is their best player. He's a lefty, but was sick for their second game. And so, worth noting, he only had 3 points in the second game after he, had
Right.
17 against us in the first one. And
Right.
so like putting that out there so that kids kind of understand this kid runs to the corner, shoots a ton of threes. Like he's not a great shooter, but he will make them eventually. Like he went 2 for 7 the second time we played him. Like some of them are going to fall. And so just kind of have an idea of their entire starting lineup, as well as the couple of guys that will come off the bench and more bench role players, and kind of what do they do as well. And then breaking down sets. And so one of the nice things about fast model sports is the fast draw and being able to diagram plays and then insert them into your scouting reports.
It is.
And
It is nice in that respect.
So here's all their, like, here's sets that they're going to run, what their name is, what it is, some notes on it, all that type of stuff is huge. And then some of their defenses, just some overall stats from the 2 games that we played, and then just a full summary of kind of just, okay, if you were just to glance at everything that we need to do is right here in the summary. Here's like the main keys. But you've got a good overview of everything there.
So here's a couple things. I'll tell coaches a couple things that I do too. I try to simplify it down to 1 or 2 or maybe 3 keys. You got to do this, this, and this, and we'll win.
Yeah.
Really simple. But what I will do is I give them little quizzes during practice, cold calls. But even more important than that, in our film sessions, I will give them a blank scout. Say, fill this out. Tell me their 10 top 7 players. We played them 3 times. You tell me.
Right.
Because I'm just, again, it goes back to what you're saying as a teacher. You want to trigger different things. Some kids do better by writing. Some kids do better by seeing. Some kids do better by. So I want to get every type of learning mode that they have.
Yeah.
But I also want them to know, like, and then what we will do is, as a team, especially the second or third time we play them, was like, all right, what do you think the keys are? Like, what do we need? What do we need to beat this team? Well, yes, we need to rebound better. Okay. Yes, we need to know where Garlock is. Yes, we need to, run our offense and get whatever it is. And usually I'll narrow it to 2 or 3 things. And that's our rally cry with scouts. Because I think it's hard. I don't know. I just think it's really hard for them when it's too much. The scouts, I think to be honest with you, over the years, I think I use them more than they do.
Oh, 100%. And I think the same. I share them with them, whether they look at them or not is great. I share them, in our day before practice anyway, film sessions. I share them and then they get to see them. But then I'm kind of like you. I try to pick 3 or 4 things, and that's what I write on the whiteboard.
Because to be honest with you, that's going to be the key. Whether we win is whether we, don't turn it over and we out rebound them. Yeah, because the other stuff, it's like, things can happen. We can be in foul trouble, blah, 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 blah. But we got to do A, B, and C. If we want to win this, we got to do A, B, and C. And if we don't, we won't win. So I think that's a good thing. Anything else with practice planning and scouting, Coach?
I think that's it. Like, we talked about it before. Just being over prepared is better than being under prepared.
Yes.
So
over prepare.
You can never have too much information. Even if you don't use all the information, have the information, because you never know when you need it.
Yes. Awesome. Great.
Hey, Coach, so glad you enjoyed the video. Subscribe and like before you leave. And also go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. It's got everything and a roadmap for you to become a better basketball coach. So go over and check it out. And let's head back to the next video, wherever that would be.